This morning, Hernandez Govan is a free man. Govan was the accused mastermind behind rapper Young Dolph's murder, and he was acquitted on those murder and conspiracy charges in rapper Young Dolph's death. The jury only spent about 3 hours deliberating before reaching a decision. ABC 24's Leah Williams is at 201 Poplar with a breakdown of the trial and reaction from both sides.
This is not just another court case. This is the story of a murder that rocked Memphis to its core. An icon gunned down in broad daylight, the courtroom drama, and one of the most shocking verdicts in recent memory. Today, we're diving into the murder trial of Young Dolph, the Memphis rapper whose life was taken far too soon. But it's not just the crime that's rattled the city. It's the trial's conclusion and one man's unexpected walk free. November 17, 2021.
Now, it's almost hard to believe that it's been 3 years since the Memphis rapper was shot and killed at Makita's cookie shop. ABC 24's Leah Williams has the timeline leading to this trial.
That's the day Young Dolph, born Adolph Thornton Jr., was tragically murdered outside his favorite cookie shop in Memphis, Makita's homemade butter cookies. A simple stop to pick up cookies turned into a devastating tragedy. Young Dolph was a beloved figure in the Memphis rap scene, a self-made millionaire who always made sure to give back to his community. His murder was not just an attack on a rapper, it was an attack on the city itself. The shockwaves of his death were felt far beyond Memphis, reaching across the nation and the hip-hop community.
The trial for Hernandez Govan, the man accused of masterminding the murder of rapper Young Dolph, begins tomorrow morning. Govan is the final suspect standing trial in this high-profile case. ABC 24's Shakina Davis has more on what to expect on the day of the trial. Shakina?
Lauren, Monday will likely focus entirely on jury selection, and the process could take up to 2 days due to the high-profile nature of this case.
In an act that seemed to epitomize the ongoing violence plaguing the streets of Memphis, 2 men, Cleotha Snoop Johnson and Justin Straight Drop Johnson, were arrested for the killing. But as we would soon find out, the story of Young Dolph's murder and the subsequent trial would take many unexpected turns. Fast forward to today, and the murder trial has drawn national attention. But what many didn't expect was the shocking moment in court just a few days ago. Hernandez Govan, a key figure connected to the shooting, was granted release. For those following the trial, this twist left many wondering, how did we get here? How did a key suspect, someone believed to be the mastermind behind the killing, manage to walk free, just when it seemed like justice was within reach?
Hernandez Govan's trial begins Monday, August 18th. Govan was arrested in November 2022 and has been now on house arrest and a $90,000 bond since May of 2023. He is charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and attempted first-degree murder. We'll be following every development as the case unfolds. Live in the studio, I'm Shakina Davis.
Let's break it down. Hernandez Govan, a known member of the South Memphis Mafia, is believed to have played a central role in orchestrating Young Dolph's murder. While Cleotha Johnson and Justin Johnson have had their time in the spotlight as the alleged shooters, it was Govan who was seen as the person behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Authorities believe he was the one who orchestrated the ambush, providing the vehicle and coordinating the attack. Govan was allegedly connected to the planning of the murder, but securing a conviction against him has proven more difficult than prosecutors anticipated.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the news at 5. I'm Pepper Baker.
And I'm Ruben Diaz. Right now, a jury has found Hernandez Govan not guilty of all charges.
Now, Govan was the accused mastermind behind the death of Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., known to many fans as Memphis rapper Young Dolph, back in November of 2021. And it took a jury just under 2 hours to make their decision.
Yeah, it was a very fast verdict. ABC 24's Desmond Nugent has been in the court since this trial got started. Desmond, you spoke to Govan. What was his reaction?
Hernandez Govan, despite his connection to the shooting and evidence suggesting his involvement, has been granted release pending trial due to insufficient evidence to hold him further. So, how did Govan get out? The answer comes down to a couple of key issues. Despite being the central figure, the prosecution simply didn't have enough hard evidence to charge Govan with a crime.
By Govan.
You like to exploit. You like to exploit young rappers. Like Mr. Johnson.
He brings no skill to the table. But you're going to hear testimony about how he intended. It was his sole mission to get a 30 to 60% piece of Mr. Johnson.
The investigation relied heavily on witness testimony, but some of the key witnesses proved to be either unreliable, fearful, or unwilling to testify. The prosecution had circumstantial evidence, cell phone records, surveillance footage, and social media posts, but these didn't directly link Govan to the crime scene. It's one thing to say someone was involved, and it's another to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. When you're talking about a high-profile case like this, the prosecution needs something concrete: DNA, forensic evidence, direct eyewitness testimony. Unfortunately, the case against Govan wasn't as ironclad as the public initially thought.
All right, let's head to Tennessee here. We haven't, online, we've been streaming this trial. This is the Hernandez Govan trial, accused of being the mastermind in the death of rapper Young Dolph, a Illinois, Chicago-based rapper who was killed in 2021 in a hail of gunfire. A jury has come to a decision in this case. Let's go in and see what the verdict is.
The defense had a field day poking holes in the timeline and casting doubt on the evidence presented. And in a case like this, that's all it takes to have a judge rule in favor of the defense. Let's take a deeper dive into where things went wrong for the prosecution. They had a strong case against the shooters, Cleotha Johnson and Justin Johnson, but Govan's role was less clear. While the public and police believed he orchestrated the hit, proving it was a different story. Surveillance footage showed the vehicle involved in the shooting, and Govan was reportedly seen in the area.
This picture shows the back of Mr. Thornton's body, and you can see both arms in his back, and you can see the majority of the gunshot wounds of the back, and you can also see some gunshot wounds of his upper extremities.
But the key issue was he actually involved in the killing, or was he merely a bystander? The prosecution couldn't provide a definitive answer, which left Govan's defense team with enough room to argue his innocence. The arrests of Cleotha Johnson and Justin Johnson were swift. Police had caught them on surveillance footage, and they quickly became the focus of the investigation. In the days following the murder, it seemed like the case would be wrapped up quickly, but the true complexities started to emerge.
It's underway in the trial of the alleged mastermind behind the killing of Memphis rapper Young Dolph.
And soon the case will be in the hands of the jury. But before wrapping up the trial of Hernandez Govan, several witnesses were called up. The man on trial also made his way to the witness stand, but not to testify. WREG's Jarita Patterson explains.
While Cleotha and Justin were allegedly the shooters, the connection between Govan and the crime scene remained unclear. Without solid evidence tying Govan directly to the shooting, the case against him became a lot weaker. As the trial continued, the defense team for Govan argued that the prosecution didn't have sufficient evidence to detain him. The defense was quick to highlight the lack of forensic evidence, including DNA, fingerprints, or any direct link to the crime scene. They also pointed out that witness testimonies were inconsistent and that some witnesses recanted their statements under cross-examination. At the end of the day, the judge had no choice but to rule that there was not enough to keep Govan in custody, granting him release pending further trial developments.
Team 3 coverage continues this afternoon following a not guilty verdict in the trial against Hernandez Govan, the man prosecutors say was the alleged mastermind behind Young Dolph's murder back in 2021. WREG's Jarita Patterson has more on how we got here.
After 3 days of testimony, it took a jury around 3 hours in order to find Hernandez Govan not guilty. It was an emotional moment. Take a look and listen.
The response from the Memphis community has been nothing short of emotional. For many, it felt like a slap in the face. Young Dolph was more than just a rapper. He was a father, a philanthropist, and a symbol of resilience in a city struggling with violence. The idea that someone who was allegedly responsible for his death could walk free on a technicality is difficult for many to accept. Fans, family members, and activists have all voiced their frustration, with some calling the justice system flawed and biased. As Govan left the courthouse, cameras captured his release to the shock of many. There's no doubt that Govan is still a suspect in Dolph's murder, and many are wondering how much longer this case will drag on. The prosecution still has time to gather more evidence, and with Govan now out, it's unclear how the next phase of the trial will unfold.
Nearly 4 years ago, and tomorrow, trial is set to begin for the man who has been called the alleged mastermind in the death of young Dolph. Hernandez Govan is charged with murder, murder conspiracy, and attempted murder in a 3-count indictment. And as WREG Chief Investigator Jessica Gertler explains, Govan's case has looked very different from others from the very beginning.
Will key witnesses step forward, or will Govan continue to slip through the cracks of the justice system? This case is a reminder of how fragile the justice system can be. The system often fails to protect those who need it most. In this case, it's young Dolph's family and community that are left waiting for justice. But we cannot give up. This case is not closed. We must keep the pressure on, hold the system accountable, and demand justice for Dolph. Young Dolph wasn't just a rapper. He was a businessman who understood the value of giving back to his community. His contributions to Memphis went far beyond music. He opened businesses, mentored young people, and put on for his hometown like few others did. His legacy is a testament to what can happen when someone from the streets makes it big and never forgets where they came from. But his death has also become a symbol of the violence and systemic problems that plague not just Memphis, but cities across the country. It's a harsh reminder that no one is immune from the dangers that come with being in the public eye. As we look ahead, we're left with more questions than answers. Hernandez Govan may be out for now, but will justice eventually catch up with him? Will more evidence surface? Will key witnesses finally come forward? And most importantly, will young Dolph's murder ever be fully solved?
I just want to say thank you to my attorneys, Manny, Robert, Haley, Beth, Handel, my private investigators, everybody for helping me. I didn't have the resources to necessarily, cover everything, and Manny still helped me, and he knew I was innocent. Everybody around me knew I was innocent. I just want to say thank you to the jurors for getting this right and getting my life back.
Or will it just become another tragic chapter in the ongoing story of violence and justice in Memphis? For now, the city waits, and so do we. If you've been following this case, share your thoughts below. Do you think Hernandez Govan will eventually face the full consequences of his actions? Or is this just the beginning of a much deeper story that's yet to unfold? Drop your comments, hit subscribe, and stay tuned. Because here, we don't just watch the news, we break it down.